Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of A Crystal Clear Mind. I was going to say my usual good morning, but it is not morning for me at the moment, but it is for my guest over in Texas today. Good morning, Christina. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on today. We've got the lovely blessing of having Kristina McGahan with us today. She's going to talk to us today about what it is that she does over in the US. And I'm going to pass it over because honestly, Christina can explain herself so much better than I can. So take it away, my lovely.
Okay. Um, so I am a nurse. I've been a nurse for 28 years. And what I have discovered throughout my career is the amount of burnout that we face. And I really feel like since COVID, it's so much worse. Um, so I went through my own burnout, um, back, right before COVID, I guess, is when mine started, but mine was a combination of, personal loss right before, a few months before COVID, and then it all just kinda collided. So, um, through that journey, I found that I was burnout and I didn't even know it for so long. And I was living in constant survival mode. Like my nervous system just never relaxed. My mind was constantly going, sleep was difficult. Um, and once I realized that's where that's where I was living in, um, I started reaching out and searching online, um, trying to find like, okay, how can I use my nursing skills outside of nursing? And that's where most of our minds go, because we think we just need to get out of this field, get out of the hospital. But that's not the problem I found. So in my search, I found a mindset coach and started working with her. And that's when I really started to heal and get out of survival mode and realized being in the hospital is not the problem. It's your nervous system. It's the survival mode that you're in. Um, and then really started looking at, all the different nursing coaches out there. And the majority of them coach nurses to leave the bedside. It's like, okay, I want to do this. I want to approach this differently. So I've gone through training. I'm NLP certified. I'm life coach certified. And now I'm going to work with nurses and women um, through this whole process. Like for nursing, I want to work with them and help them to get out of survival mode, help them come back to their identity, help them find their joy again, find themselves again. Um, the reason that they became a nurse, because when we all graduate, we're all just so excited to be a nurse,
Oh, absolutely.
you
It's not a
know?
job that you go into with no thought, is it? Like you're either really
Right,
late for it or you really want to do it. You want to help people.
right,
So
right,
you're absolutely
yeah.
spot on. Like there must be something there that inspired you in the first place to go and do this.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And I want to help nurses get back to that and enjoy being at the bedside again.
Yeah.
We're already short staffed. We don't need more nurses leaving. We need them to get out of survival mode and find a new way to be at the bedside again.
Yeah.
So,
It's an incredible idea. I really do. I like your concept is fabulous. I mean, I know that obviously the sort of wellness sector now is expanding at the moment. I'm sure it's
right,
doing the same over in the US as it is in the UK. It's kind of exploding at the moment.
right.
Probably as the world gets more complicated. Generally, people are looking for better ways to feel good, better, evolved, healthier, and so on.
Mhm.
But I love the concept of what you're looking at, that very specific, although you're doing the women as well, but you've got that lovely specific niche for those a group of people that around the world, isn't it? It's not just in
It
America. It's definitely
is.
not just in the UK either. It's everywhere. Nurses do live in that state. You're absolutely spot on. It's incredible what you do.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's my goal isn't just to help nurses here in the United
Yeah,
States because I do know this is a worldwide problem. Um, so I mean, I would love to reach out globally, you
yeah.
know. Um, I mean, there's so many opportunities now with Zoom. I can help people all over the place. That's what I really want to do is just help as many nurses as I can to get out of this survival mode and get out of burnout and be happy again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know what it's like. I mean, obviously, I suppose to an extent, we all hear a bit about the US medical system being quite hard from a patient perspective, probably more than a staffing perspective. But I don't know, from your perspective in England, we only hear about how bad it is really for the staff here. It's quite a flawed system that's really struggling in the UK. And nurses here are, staff in general in the hospitals struggle so badly. Um, do you feel over there that it's the system as well as burnout, or is it really just this kind of this burnout system within the people themselves that's causing it?
No, I think it's also the system. I think it's a combination.
Yeah,
Um, because I understand that hospitals are a business and you have to make money to keep it running, but the people that are high up that are, the administration that is running it um just sees the bottom dollar. They've never actually they're not healthcare workers. So they don't really fully understand what the staff is experiencing, um, what our role really consists of. So yeah, I think it's both because
yeah,
the staff would love to sit down with administration and say, "Hey, look, this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're facing. This is what we need," and have it happen, but that's not reality. So, and they do listen sometimes they listen, but not always, and sometimes it's not feasible. Um, so I think it's just both.
yeah, I do. I think I agree with you. I think it's from both sides as well. Burnout's a huge one as well. From person to person, it will differ as to how we all got there and how often it happens. You know, for one person, it might happen once in a humongous way. And for other people, it can happen periodically, regularly patterned.
Right.
It is quite diverse as a subject, but it seems to be something that is very much on the rise as well, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I know many people that don't suffer from some form of burnout now.
Right. Yeah, it's very common.
Yeah,
Um, I feel like life is just it's become faster. It's become more demanding. It's a I want it right now culture,
yeah,
and that's hard. It's hard for everyone, to try to keep up um without getting tired, without getting burnt out. And then, if you're facing difficulties in your personal life or difficulties in your job, difficulties in your finances, whatever the situation, everyone's facing something,
yeah.
you know. Um that was something that I really came to light for me when I was going through my difficult times. Like, I guess I never really thought, "Oh my gosh, everyone's going through something," you know? It's not just me. Um, so I changed my outlook. Um, now it's just like, always try to find the good. Always be kind. You never know what anyone is facing. That's the way I approach it now, trying to just
Yeah.
spread a little kindness.
A mindset. You said you worked with a mindset coach, didn't you? Wow. Like, I think that one for me is probably the one that turns everything around. It might just be the start of a journey for some people, but that switch in mindset, whatever it is for the individual, um, is just incredible. I'm fascinated, absolutely fascinated by our brains and our minds anyway, and how much it listens and pays attention to the things that we say and do, the things that we believe
Mm,
and have faith in. I often have conversations with my daughter specifically. You know, she's very much, I can't. And I'm like, don't keep saying it. Your brain is listening, like, be
that's
careful.
right.
It will believe you. Stop it. So I do love that you sort out this mindset coach as your starting point for your healing journey, for you to feel better, because it all starts there, doesn't it? Just
It
that
does.
switch. It's like a switch, isn't it?
It really is. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. I mean, your subconscious controls, 95% of everything. And to actually get into your mind and realize, okay, I might be angry right now, but what's the root of this? And you really get into that mindset work and dig deep. And, it could be, oh, this goes all the way back to when I was, 5 years old.
Yeah.
Because de your developmental years are until you're 7 years old, and that's basically what your what forms you, up until 7. So a lot of our emotions, um, stem from those early years, and we don't realize it because it's, in our subconscious. So to get in and do that work, it's a constant process, like peeling back layers.
Gotcha.
Um,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, and another thing that I teach, like you just said with your daughter, you know, you have to say it out loud. You know, your mind will start going, and you're on a downward spiral in your mind, and you've got to stop it. And the best way to stop it is to, take a deep breath, put your hand on your chest, and say it out loud. You know, I am safe. I am okay. I can do this, You have to say it out loud to break that cycle in your mind, um, from spiraling.
Yeah, it's a powerful one that I use when, I feel an anxiety attack coming on. So, I used to just get them, I didn't even notice them coming, they just, like, hit hard, and that was it, I was in the middle of it, and then you're panicking, so you just can't do anything with it, but then that flipping mindset, that switch is gone now, so I've, like, put the switch on, and now I have all these tools in my little toolkit that I use, and one of them is actually that, hands here. If they're not
Yes.
there, they're doing the EFT tapping, and I say, "I am safe. I am okay. I can get through this. This is my mind. This is me. I'm fine. I'm okay."
Yes.
And it does. It just, like you said, it's a switch, isn't it? It stops your brain from continuing on its spiral, so that you
Right.
can kind of curb. At least that works for me anyway. I'm not saying that works for absolutely everybody, but it does work for me, and I recommend it highly to anybody. That is just such a simple shift in the way that we think about things, but is so effective. So
It
effective.
really is. Yeah, it really is.
That's incredible. So you want to work with women as well? Because again, I mean, I don't know, kind of say it statistically, but
Mm.
I feel that I hear more about women burning out than I hear about men. I don't know if that's scientifically correct or not, but maybe men aren't ready to talk about it. I'm not too sure, but I mean, a lot of women. Like I said, I don't think I know anybody that doesn't. And I love that you're
Right.
branching out to that now. That you kind of want to go around as well. You want to be nurses and women, don't you?
I do. Yeah, because, the more I work on myself, the more I realize there's there's just so many women out there struggling,
Mm.
um, and they don't really know their worth. They don't know their value, or they devalue themselves. Um, and my personal journey, and then I've worked with people that have gone through similar journeys. Um, I went through a divorce that I wasn't expecting, um, and it felt like a death.
Yeah,
Um, and just the whole grieving process and how messy that is, and how you flip back and forth between different areas of the grieving process, and how it can last for so long. Um, and I just feel like if I can help someone get through that process, just walk them through it, be there by their side, maybe I can help them get through it a little faster, maybe a little easier. Um, and then from there, once you get through that grieving process, you're like, okay, let's talk about your emotional state, your survival mode, because everyone goes through that too. If you've lost something or lost someone, um, your nervous system just goes on high alert,
yeah.
and it doesn't know it's okay to calm down. It's okay to be safe, unless you tell it. Um, so yeah, that's where I just want to like bridge that gap for women, you know, help them get through that grief cycle, the survival mode, emotional, mental, find themselves again.
Yeah, and it's very, oh, I can't think of the word. I don't want to say popular, that makes it sound fleeting, but at the moment there is a great big uprising here, especially, of women that are they're really working out that they need this, all the modalities, all they can, whatever it is that fits them and suits their healing journey and so on. But they have kind of got into an uprising of that's enough now, as you said, devaluing themselves. So it's not even necessarily that someone else has devalued them, but perhaps society has. Perhaps they were taught to devalue themselves. There's so many angles you
Mhm.
can come from, isn't there?
Yes.
That they just realize I don't seem to know my own worth. I know I'm worth more than I am displaying myself to be or allowing myself to be treated, but I don't know what I'm worth. And you look and you kind of think, if you were their friend, you would say, "That's crazy. You're worth so much. Like you're amazing." But when we talk about ourselves, we don't, do we? We don't speak like that at all.
No, we're our worst critics.
We are, we really are. We can be so cruel to ourselves, but you would never say that about somebody else.
No, you wouldn't.
No, and I say to people often, when you hear these words, you're kind of like, would you speak to your best friend like that? And they're like,
I
no, God,
know.
no. And I'm like, exactly. But women do, they need uplifting. I think there's a lot going on in the world at the moment that's kind of downgrading us as well.
Mhm.
But showing that even though we are starting to feel more, um, I can't think of the right word now, not powerful, because that means means that there's a power play, but more enlightened, more alive, more
Yeah.
within ourselves. We're finding that the news in the world is kind of knocking us back a little bit, saying, actually, really, we've still kind of got you all over a barrel. And I think that as a collective, women around the world are really feeling this. Likewise, men are also feeling very ousted at the moment. So if they're good men that have done no harm to anybody, and they're just living their lives. I think the world at the moment is kind of telling everybody kind of like, "Don't like men. Men are dangerous. Men are terrible." And they're kind of feeling pushed out as well, aren't they? And there's a very complicated, set of circumstances going on in the world. But with women, I'm finding that they are feeling very conflicted. Like, the more that they find themselves empowered within themselves, the more the world is telling them, "Sure, on this hand you are, but just to let you know this is going on and you didn't even realize it." And we're kind of coming back down again. And it's a shame because, all of these things, I feel, add to the burnout a lot. The news, the
Yeah.
media, the fake
Yeah.
news as well as the real news,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's a lot.
It is. And we tend to, isolate ourselves.
Yeah,
And, I don't believe that that's how we're meant to live. We're meant to have a community, um, a partner, a best friend, uh, you know, and that's one of the things that I want to bring is, a group of women with similar issues into a community where we can talk about things, where we can help each other, support each other, bring enlightenment to each other.
yeah, yeah,
I
which
think
is
it's so
a fab
important to have
idea.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I think, and we do well, as you said, women together, when they band together, they do well. They, generally speaking, we help each other rise. We encourage and support each other very well. Um, Again, I say generally speaking, because women can also be quite, destructive, but
yes,
generally, as a community, we do better in groups, don't we?
we
Just
do.
guiding each other along. And I
Yeah,
feel, yeah, at the moment, we are getting quite a lot of that sort of community spirit, even around the world. It's not even just with our local community. It is around the world that you're finding. Well, people like you. You see, I mean, all I did was pop out a little post, didn't I, saying that I was looking for people to come onto my wellness podcast, and I met wonderful people like you. Have one from Ohio, two from Canada, and then you in Texas. And it's like, I love technology for this.
I know, I do too.
We'd never have
Yeah,
been able to talk or discuss or agree on the things that we're agreeing on from this sort of distance without it. It's wonderful.
it really is. Yeah, the connections that you can make. Yeah, yeah, I do love that aspect of technology.
Absolutely. And do you know what? It helps people like you to work outside of your local area as well, doesn't it? Again,
It does.
I love the people that I have on, the guests that I have on, regardless of what modality they're in, business wise or otherwise, where we can all access online, and COVID definitely gave us that push, didn't it? That
It
bolstering into the
did.
online world that, all of us can just access everybody from anywhere. And likewise, they can find us. I mean, fabulous fact that when I spoke to you originally in November, all that time ago, that just honestly feels like it was a million years ago. I
Mhm.
think I remember telling you back then that the podcast was reaching about 30 countries. And since then, but particularly in this last month, it is now reaching 62 countries.
That's
And you
amazing.
and you just kind of look and go, "Technology, my God, how on earth would you get something like this to that many countries otherwise?" And that
Right.
sense of community is there, and also that requirement where people are reaching out and they're looking for that better enlightenment. And burnout is a huge one here at the moment, where people are
Absolutely.
really feeling it, and that survival mode. I actually happen to be, just by chance, reading something today about survival mode, actually. Um, and I was reading all the symptoms of, but also all the ways you can sort of combat it and come back around from it,
Yeah.
and what it feels like to be stuck in it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and most people just that's how they live. They don't even realize that they're in a
Yeah.
survival mode. Yeah,
And it can go on for a long time. I think that's the
it
one that
can.
surprised me. It sounds like something that should be short lived, which I mean, obviously, in caveman terms, it should have been short lived. Literally,
Right.
I've got to survive that and I'm done.
Right, right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, there are people that are in it for years, as you said, that have got no idea that they were even actually in it. They just got so used to it being natural.
Right, yeah, I mean, yeah, survival mode is supposed to be short-lived, but your body gets stuck. And you're like, "Oh, okay, this is how I'm supposed to go. This is how I'm supposed to live. Okay, let's go, go, go." We're always on high alert. We're always, being hypervigilant or and yeah, your body's not meant to live that way. It gets tired. You need rest.
It really, really does. And, you know, it's all of it though, isn't it? As you said earlier, how fast the world moves, how on demand everything is, how on demand we are really. Everything we do is expected to be now, 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 isn't it? You know, even in the
Yes.
business world, I look and kind of go, not from the holistic side, but I look and think everything's now. If I order something, I've already got my kids kind of asking, where is it? I'm like, I already just ordered it. It doesn't work like that. You know, to me, it's not surprising because we lived with snail mail for years, but to our kids, it is shocking that it's taking more than 12 hours to get something here. And this
Yeah,
constant flow of constant news off of 30 different channels with 30 different opinions. And it is a really bombarding world that it's no wonder our poor, poor
yeah,
systems cannot cope with it.
right. Yeah, and if you don't know what is triggering your mind and your body to be in this hyper vigilant state all the time, you're just stuck there. You've gotta learn your triggers, and be able to combat them, stop them before they spiral. It's really important.
So, can you actually end up in survival mode without, let's say, a specific event, like let's say a traumatic event or, you know, something that causes grief in some respect or another? Can you go into survival mode just by existing, or is it something has to happen that causes the survival mode?
I believe something triggers it. I mean, you can have a good life, but there could be a trigger at work that, you know, demanding deadlines, demanding boss that can put your body and your mind in that survival type mode because you want to perform well, you want to show your worth at work, you don't want to lose your job. As little as that, I think, can throw you into a survival mode. Um, and then you kind of adapt and you start living your entire life like that,
Yeah.
which, that's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, but then it could also be from a traumatic event, from your childhood, adulthood, you know.
I think
S-
generally speaking, most people have had a traumatic event of some sort, surely, or a grief or a loss or a something. And again, as you said, not necessarily person. It could be loss of a job or loss of a house or anything, couldn't it? But
It could.
yeah, I think it's just, I think it actually makes me quite sad thinking that you could still have actually a decent life, but still get thrown into this mode. And then it can change your entire outlook on everything. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I think it probably, I think most people, especially in this day and age, I think most people have had something probably be the offset reason as to where it came from.
Right. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Yeah.
We live
So
in such a high demanding society,
very high
you know.
demanding. Yeah, no, it is high
Yeah.
demanding. It is. So, I mean, where would you start? If if you were to speak to someone that was in this kind of mode, where would you tell them to begin?
Um, First I would want to know more about them personally, what to try to, let's find out what type of survival mode you're living in. Um, and why you're there. What do you think got you there? Let's dig deep into that. That's where I want to start.
Yeah,
Because once we know what you're living in, then we can start to break that.
yeah,
Because what you're living in also determines what or who you attract, which can keep you in that survival mode if you don't know it and don't change it and don't set healthy boundaries.
absolutely. Yeah, you've got quite the trifecta there, actually, haven't you? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So then you can actually, yeah, kind of get yourself stuck there by what you're bringing in around you. I mean, it's always the same, though, isn't it? You know, when you when you've got whether it's good thoughts or bad thoughts, it attracts more of it, doesn't it? You know, you bring it in unintentionally so, but
Right. Yeah. What, you don't even realize what your vibration is giving off, right?
yeah,
Good vibes,
exactly.
bad vibes.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
Yeah.
I didn't think if you'd have told me sort of like, 25 years ago that I would spend my day working on my vibration to try and make sure the good stuff comes, and that was my daily goal, is to just work on a higher vibe. I probably would have sort of looked at you like you were crazy, but yeah, no, it's all about the vibration. It really
It
is.
is. Yeah. Yeah. What vibration do you give off? What are you manifesting? You know, it, yeah. I mean, yeah, 20 years ago, I'd have been like, that sounds crazy, but, it's so true. The more you look at this and the more you do this kind of work, it's like, yeah, I can see it, I can feel it on someone else, when they've got a bad aura or, putting off a bad vibe, what's going on, you know?
Definitely. Definitely. And you're right, it attracts more of the same thing. And if you're
It
stuck
does.
there, if you're stuck in that mode, then yeah, it can attract more of that into your life via people or even worse, jobs. I mean, that's the worst one that I hear the most of is, that they're kind of attracting really crap work and awful environments to put themselves into. And it's the thing they want to change the most. But I think by putting their thought into the wrong mindset, so you kind of instead of going with how you're going to change it, it's more like, "I don't wanna be here," that you end up attracting yourself into that situation, which is I just think is so hard, isn't it? But we need that switch
It
again, don't
is.
we? We need the mindset
Right.
switch.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta start talking it, not just, thinking it,
Yeah.
manifesting,
Say it
you
out
know,
loud,
say it
definitely.
out loud. Yeah. Whether you believe it or not, you gotta start. I am worthy of this job, I'm worthy of this healthy relationship. And yeah, you just gotta s raise your vibration, manifest it, and that helps saying it out loud, that definitely helps with the mindset shift.
Yeah, I think it does. I think that just speaking it into truth. I mean, it's almost like the verbal definition of like smiling until, through the sadness until you feel like smiling again or faking it until you make it. It's kind of like that, isn't it?
It is.
If you say it, it does eventually turn itself out to be so. I
Yes.
think that's why you hear so many things like, and so it is, and things like that, is because it's just like, if I say it, then that's that. It's done and it will be. And the thing is you talk to anybody that does this sort of mindset um, setup, and definitely people that manifest, the ones that don't try to project it as some sort of sorcery or magic. When
Right.
we are speaking literally about just between the law of attraction, mindset management, kind of style manifestation, where you are putting action to your thoughts, that together. I mean, people can tell you stories of all sorts of things that they have actually brought into existence by merely speaking out loud their worth and their
Yes.
value. I am worthy of this. I am safe enough. I do deserve this. I am okay. I am well. My favorite one is always
Yes.
that one. I am well. I'm healing. I'm not sick. I'm healing.
Right.
And the difference between the two is immense.
Yes.
It just is fascinating, absolutely fascinating. But you mentioned grief as a huge tool as well, that people kind of need to work through their grief, whatever their grief may be around, to kind of come out the other side as well.
Yes. Yes, I do believe that. Grief is messy. You've got all the different grief cycles, but you don't go through them in an order. You might be in denial and numbness at the same time, and then you come out of that and you go into something else, and then, oh wait, now you're back into this again. It there's no constant flow, and it's hard when you're going through a grieving cycle because everyone grieves differently. So no one really understands where you're at. it's hard to speak to your friends and family, because they don't quite understand, oh, well, they might be going through it too, but their grieving is different than your grieving,
Yeah.
you know? So you need that community to speak to without judgment, who's going to be supportive and be like, yes, I've been there. I understand that, you know, encourage them, just be there. So, yeah, it can be messy and it can last a long time. And it can be, loss of a family member or friend, loss of a job, like you said, like loss of a house, loss of finances. So many different aspects can cause you to go through a grieving cycle.
And we hold on to a lot, don't we? Maybe
We
we
do.
don't even always realize how much we are carrying around with us. Some of it's very on the surface and we see it, we know it, we kind of wear it on our sleeve, but there is so much deep down that I don't think we all realize what we're carrying with us on a daily to be able to begin to deal with it.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
I
it
think
does
a
take
lot a
someone
lot of
like you to
people.
kind of dig it out. Do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah, a lot of people just kinda, like, shove it down, you
Yeah,
know, because you have to go through the motions of your day, whatever your day consists of, going to work, going to the grocery store, taking care of the kids, taking care of your elderly parents, whatever your situation is, you still have to do it. You
yeah.
still have to go through the motions. So a lot of people just shove it down. No, I don't have time for this. I'll deal with it later. But when you do that, it just builds up and it becomes louder and louder in your head instead of healing.
Yeah, and it's probably a word that we hear more of at the moment than I think I've ever heard of it before, is the healing. Everyone's healing or trying to heal or trying to be on a healing journey and so on. And I love hearing that because it's almost the same as what I said to you about the change in terminology from, oh, I'm sick or I'm unwell to, oh, I'm healing. Like your mind is kind of going, oh, am I? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
healing. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And again, you might not be doing everything and anything. Maybe you're just doing a small bit for now because that's all you can fit in or all you can cope with. Because again, some stuff is quite deep. But if you are saying, I am healing, it will take time, but I am
Yeah.
healing. Your mind completely accepts that and goes, then I can give you some space and I'll give you some
Yes.
time.
Yes.
It knows it's on a path where it kind of accepts, okay, I'm not going to be fixed now. We're still going to struggle along. You might get me a bit better, but I'll give you a bit of space. And I think that that is quite relieving. And just being able to say that to someone is just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yes.
Like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first started going through my divorce, you know, it's so common people ask you, how you doing? And just common response, I'm okay, I'm fine,
I'm
something like
fine.
that.
Yeah.
Um, and I switched that up, when someone would say, "How are you?" I'd be like, "I'm breathing." In my mind, would be like, "Oh, okay. We're gonna relax. We're gonna take a deep breath,"
You breathe. That's a good
one
idea.
breath at a
Yeah,
time.
again, just one little word shift, but it changes the way we think.
Yeah.
And it is so important to give ourselves space as well to have that compassion for ourselves. We would give that compassion to someone else if they were grieving or going through a process or they were feeling absolutely rubbish and they were having a problem. We'd give loads
Mhm.
of compassion and empathy and we would be there for them. But when it comes to
Mhm.
ourselves, we've got to almost train our brains to understand that we are being compassionate now. I am
Right.
giving you the space to breathe and you need to breathe.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love it.
And
Our mind just absolutely fascinates me, honestly.
yeah.
It's it's crazy and wonderful and so damn clever,
It
it's
really is,
insane.
yeah.
It's insane. So what's next for Christina then? What's on your agenda? So you're already working with the nurses for burnout and then you want to integrate the women as well, which there's
Right.
plenty of them that need this kind of assistance. And then you want to kind of create a community around that as well. What else
Yes.
have you got on the cards, or is that kind of enough for now? Because that's quite a lot in itself.
Well, I mean, I have a Facebook group that I'm, creating a community with there, um, and I do, free teachings and things like that on my Facebook group, you know, once a week or more. Um, just words of wisdom, just words of, give yourself grace, um, little tools to help retrain your brain. Um, yeah, and then I have my program where um, some of it is modules that you can watch. I have meditations. I do Zoom meetings, one-on-ones and groups. Um, and just that's where I'm at right now. I just want to help as many nurses and women as I can. That's
Absolutely love it.
my heart's desire.
That's where your joy is at the moment. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. And that's fabulous. I mean, clearly, obviously, being a nurse anyway, you're kind of a person that wants to help. You want to help people. But I love that your joy at the moment is sparked in that mass helping the collective to
Hmm.
feel a lot better. And I think that's just absolutely beautiful. But if any of you are inspired, or you want to find out more, or you'd love to ask a question, I will pop all of Christina's details into the comment section on YouTube, and then the bio section of the description on every other platform. So you can link to her. I'm going to get her group link so you can get to her that way. Because I would say that there's a wonderful vibe from you here of what you are doing and what you want to do and aspire to do, that I think that it will probably reach an awful lot of women across the world that are kind of going to go, they're all nodding now. They're kind of like, yeah, I feel like that. I get it. I get it. That was how I felt yesterday. They're all
Yeah.
kind of in agreement here. We're all nodding dogs at the moment. Like, yeah. So if you want to reach out to Christina, you can. I know she would love to hear from you, but I'd love to say thank you for coming on today. It's been absolutely lovely listening to you, and I really love what you are hoping to do. And I wish you all the best of luck with it. And I'd love to catch up with you at some point and see how it's going.
Yes, that'd be wonderful.
Thank you so much for joining us. And to
Thank you.
everybody out there, thank you for joining us today for another episode of A Crystal Clear Mind. And until next time, take care of yourself.
Thank you.